Hi guys, Chris Fagan here. I know you've submitted heaps of questions over the last little while, and I'm going to do my level best to answer some of them for you this afternoon. Yeah, that's a very difficult question because that was a star-studded team, you know, Voss, Black, Lynch. I'll probably say Lynchy because he's a Tasmanian, you know, and because he and I are good mates. You know, he just provided that magnificent target up forward that would bring the ball to ground and bring other players into the game. And he had the versatility to go and play down back as well. So I'd probably say Lynchy, and my second choice would be Michael Voss, just to start things up in the engine room. Yeah, Noah's, I guess everyone's wondering where Noah is. He got groin soreness in the game against Sydney last year that we played in Cairns, which is a long time ago now, and he hasn't played since. He trained with the AFL team this morning, did all the session, and I think he's finally turned the corner, and we should see him playing again in the next week or two in our reserves team. Yeah, I'm sure that question wasn't asked by a good supporter. Anyway, I will answer that question. No, I coach from down on the bench because I have 6 fantastic blokes up in the box watching the game, and they can see it all. And I like to be down on the bench where you can feel the game and you can talk to the players and you can sense the mood and the intensity of the game, and I feel like that's an advantage for us at the moment. Yeah, I think from the moment I arrived, I basically, in the back of my mind, I wanted to develop a group of players who could coach and look after themselves and create the culture that they wanted. But I knew as the coach when I first turned up, I had to try and create that environment where that would occur. And so we worked really hard on that over the last 4 years, and I feel like we're at that stage now where our players feel like they own the place in a really healthy sort of a way, and they want to, you know, achieve as much as they can together. So they're very self-driven, and they now drive me, which is fantastic. Oh, I think initially we just started with the idea that it's okay to make mistakes because that's how you learn. That's how we all learn. We don't like making them, but it's funny when we make them. I think they're our biggest lessons. So we've always tried to treat every little hiccup that we've had along the way as an opportunity to learn, and our players embrace that early days, and they still embrace it because we still make mistakes and we still have bad days because we're human. But hopefully they've not only learnt that helps you in footy, but it can also help you in your life. It's a good way to look at things and put things in perspective. So I think that's the biggest thing, that they embrace that growth mindset idea that there's nothing wrong with failing as long as you learn from it. I think it's developing every individual player as a person first and foremost, and then as a footballer. And the other part is bringing all those different characters together to play as one and work together with and for each other on the field every time that they go out there. They don't always do that perfectly, but they do strive for it. And I think that, you know, they're the two things that give me joy when you see those things come together. And, you know, I always hope that, you know, one day, 10 years' time, when I'm no longer the coach of the Brisbane Lions and I see some of the boys that I coach down the street, that their lives have ended up really good and that they're doing purposeful work, whatever that may be, and leading for fulfilled life. So that's pretty much how I approach it. Yeah, it's an interesting question. You sort of look at both, I reckon, in a way. I always have an eye for who's coming up. You sort of have to because you've got to plan ahead. But the sole focus each week is really just that next game. The competition's so even, and every team has the capacity to beat every other team on any given day. So, you know, I think just that 1 week at a time approach is a pretty good way to go. That way you don't get ahead of yourself. You just face each challenge as it comes along and treat it on its merits, and hopefully, you know, if you do that well enough in the 22 home and away games, you end up winning enough games to play finals. That's sort of how it works for me. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes you just got to blood them because injuries dictate that you do, you know, you haven't got a choice. But if you've got a choice, you like to pick them when they're in form. B, you'd like to know that they've earned their spot through hard work and perseverance. You want them to have a really positive attitude and a team first attitude. And you know, probably they're the main things really. I think the most important part of that is you try and pick them when they're on the up and they're in good form, not bring them in when they're not ready. You know, that's the balancing act. How do you know if they're ready or not? Well, usually their form will tell you, how they train, how they interact with teammates around the place. You know, you look at a Dev Robertson who made his debut sort of last year in round 1, I think on the back of a couple of injuries, and then he never got to play again. So I almost felt like this year was his debut because of the way COVID went and we didn't have many injuries. And you know, the beauty of him having that debut last year was he was so ready to come back again when he got his opportunity. He'd been looking forward to it so much and had worked so hard to get it that, you know, you can see by the way he plays now, he really treasures it. Oh, look, I've been fortunate to have been, in my 2 previous jobs at Melbourne and Hawthorn, been involved in 5, 6 AFL Grand Finals and lucky enough to be involved in 4 premierships at Hawthorn. So for me, if that were to happen here, the biggest enjoyment I would get would be watching how everybody else reacts to achieving that. Just sitting back and watching the smiles on people's faces and the sense of satisfaction, the sense of achievement, the mateship, not just of the players but for everyone who works here, because it's a collective effort. That would be the thing for me. That would be, on grand final night if we won it, I wouldn't have too many to drink because I just want to sit back and watch everybody else enjoying the moment.